Hello everyone. So in this part of the mini lecture, we are going to be talking about what a radian is. Now, a radian is just another unit that is used for measuring angles, just like if we have many different kinds of units for measuring distances. We could measure a distance in meters or in kilometers or even in the old school measurements of feet and inches, etc. And with time, we can measure things in many different kinds of units. We can measure time in seconds or in hours or in weeks or in years and so on. Now with angles, up till now you've been mostly measuring angles in degrees, but another measure of an angle is in radians. Now, 1 radian is, if we look at the circle that we have on the screen, and let's draw in where the center of the circle is, which would be around about there, let's say. So let's draw the radius, which is a line from that point, that central point, to the outside of the circle. And 1 radian is if we go around the same distance as the radius, which would be round about that distance. So we've got the radius, and we've also gone around the outside of the circle by the same distance, and then that central angle there will be 1 radian. Now the circumference, in other words, the total distance around a circle is C is 2 pi times r. So distance around the outside of the circle is 2 pi multiplied by the radius, which that also gives you a clue as to how many radians there are in a full circle. So 1 full circle that's 360 degrees, but 1 full circle is 2 pi radians. Now we have here 360 degrees is equal to 2 pi radians, which is an equation in its own right. If we divide that through by 2, so divide both sides of that equation by 2, we get half a circle, which is 180 degrees, which is pi radians. Now, if we want to find how many radians 1 degree is, we could divide that equation through by 180. So if we divide both sides of that equation by 180, we get 180 degrees divided by 180, which is 1 degree is pi over 180 radians. And if we go back to 180 degrees is equal to pi radians, and we wanted to find out what 1 radian was, we would divide both sides of that equation by pi. So pi over pi is 1 radian, which is 180 over pi degrees. So that tells us what we need to do if we are converting from degrees into radians. We need to multiply by pi upon 180. And if we're going the other way, so converting from radians to degrees, we need to do the opposite. So multiply by 180 over pi. So here we have a couple of questions. Convert to radians 90 degrees. So if 90 degrees is 90 lots of 1 degree. And 1 degree, we already know to be pi over 180 radians. So we need to multiply 90 by pi over 180. So we get 90 pi over 180. And if we simplify, 90 over 180 is 1/2, so we get pi over 2. Or if we did the calculation, we would get 1.57, and those are in radians. So pi upon 2 radians, or 1.57 radians. Now, both forms would be acceptable there, but pi upon 2 is better because it's exact, whereas 1.57 was rounded off. Now, 1 degree is pi over 180, which should be fine as a answer, but because that gives you an exact value, it's not rounded, but it doesn't really give you an idea of its size that we would get from a decimal. So if we work out pi divided by 180, we would get to 3 significant figures, 0.0175. And 45 degrees is equal to 45 pi over 180. And 45 over 180 actually simplifies to 1/4. So this is pi over 4, which is, if we work this out as a decimal, we would get 0.785. Now, if we're doing some conversions the other way, so converting from radians into degrees, we need to multiply by pi over 180, and by 180 over pi. So here we've got pi over 3 is what we've got in radians, and multiply that by 180 over pi gives you 180 pi over 3 pi. Pi's cancel to leave you 180 over 3, which is 60 degrees. 1 radian is going to be 1 times 180 over pi, and if we calculate that, we end up with 57.3 degrees. And 7 pi over 12, converting that into radians, we get 7 pi over 12 times 180 over pi. Pi's cancel, and we've got 7 times 180 divided by 12. Calculate that, we get 105 degrees. Thanks for watching.